Hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning into News9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. Joining me in the studio is my colleague Varghese Abraham, and we're surrounded by lots and lots of newspapers. We've got the tabloid headlines, what the internet says here on our laptops, and what we're trying to essentially do is letting you be a part of our editorial meet. Really get down in the comment sections. Join us as we go along all the news that we're going to cover today. Essentially, what TV journalism looks like in the day-to-day is going to be decoded here in a nutshell. We've got a couple of things to talk about, but without wasting any time, it seems like, Varghese, right on the front page, it says Modi, who's on record for saying India-Australia ties hinge on mutual respect. He's again come out and said that our relationships are moving towards a T20 scenario. Just a short, while ago, just a couple of months back, we had the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese in the Motera Stadium in Ahmedabad when India were taking on Australia in that test match, and he was there. And now Modi ji has gone there. IPL season is alive and kicking, and he's saying that India-Australia ties are heading towards a T20 phase.
Well, interestingly enough, there were 3 C's in India's relationship with Australia, and Prime Minister Modi, in fact, raised those issues. One is they were friends at Commonwealth. They used to come for that Commonwealth picture. Then they talked about cricket, Motera Stadium, as you also mentioned, and the kind of cricketing rivalry that both the both the countries had. And then you had curry. That was the point at which the contact was. But now it's become a multi-dimensional relationship. One, of course, with regards to energy. Coal is one very important import that we have from Australia. We have Adani also having large coal mines in Australia. The other important factor is, of course, uranium. We are looking at our power demand to peak up. We will be looking at more nuclear powered energy plants in this country, and you require uranium fuel, and Australia is one of the largest uranium fuel deposits are present, that the kind of uranium that we use in our reactors. So Australia, the dimension from being a common colony of the British Empire to moving to further enhancement of the kind of relationship that we are looking at, especially when it comes to energy. And of course, again, what is the position within Quad? Australia is probably the western outpost of Quad in the Pacific.
Right.
So strategically enough, that is also something that India would be looking at, because India has its own relationship with China, which is very complicated. But at the same time, India is also perceiving some of the threats that the assertive China would in fact impose. So Australia is part of that outreach as
the G20, the G7, the Quad. It seems like India is, imposing its actual ownership on these particular platforms, the rising stature of the country in the South Pacific. Even Anthony, his Australian counterpart, Mr. Albanese, he's on record calling the Prime Minister a boss. Take a look at some reactions by the Prime Minister of both these countries, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. What happened yesterday in Sydney? Huge fanfare. You should have seen. It was almost like a Led Zeppelin rock concert. Just take a look at that. Those reactions really quickly.
हमारे यहाँ भाषाएं भले अलग-अलग बोली जाती हो, लेकिन हम जुड़े हुए हैं मलयालम, तमिल, तेलुगु, पंजाबी, हिंदी भाषाएं पढ़ाने वाले इतने सारे स्कूलों से। साथियों, ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लोग, यहाँ के निवासी इतने विशाल हृदय के हैं, दिल के इतने अच्छे और सच्चे हैं कि भारत की इस विविधता को खुले दिल से स्वीकारते हैं। और यही वजह है कि पैरामाटा स्क्वायर किसी के लिए परमात्मा चौक बन जाता है, विक्रम स्ट्रीट भी विक्रम स्ट्रीट के रूप में मशहूर हो जाती है और हैरिस पार्क कई लोगों के लिए हरीश पार्क हो जाता है। वैसे मैंने सुना है कि हैरिस पार्क में चटका की चाट, जयपुर स्वीट्स की जलेबी, उसका तो कोई जवाब ही नहीं है। मेरी आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है, आप लोग कभी मेरे मित्र पीएम एल्बेनीजी को भी वहां जरूर ले जाइएगा। और साथियों, जब खाने की बात चली है और चाट की बात चली है तो लखनऊ का नाम आना भी स्वाभाविक ही है। मैंने सुना है सिडनी के पास लखनऊ नाम की जगह भी है, लेकिन मुझे पता नहीं वहां भी चाट मिलती है क्या। अच्छा, यहां भी तो शायद दिल्ली के पास वाले लखनऊ के लोग होंगे ही होंगे, है क्या? वाह। ब्रिस्बेन में भारतीय समुदाय की बहुत समय से जो मांग थी, अब उसे पूरा किया जाएगा। जल्द ही ब्रिस्बेन में भारत का एक नया काउंसलेट खोला जाएगा। फ्रेंड, भारत और ऑस्ट्रेलिया की गहरी होती पार्टनरशिप मां भारती में आस्था रखने वाले प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को सशक्त करेगी। आपके पास टैलेंट है, अपनी स्किल की ताकत है और साथ ही अपने कल्चरल वैल्यूज भी है। समाप्त करने से पहले आपसे कुछ मांगना चाहता हूं। देंगे? आवाज जरा धीमी हो गई। देंगे? पक्का? प्रॉमिस? मैं आपसे ये मांग रहा हूं और आपसे आग्रह करूंगा कि आप जब भी भारत आए, अपने साथ कोई न कोई ऑस्ट्रेलियाई मित्र और उनके परिवार को भी साथ लेकर के आए। इससे उन्हें भारत को समझने का, जानने का और ज्यादा बेहतर मौका मिलेगा।
I said to my friend, the Prime Minister, before, the last time I saw someone on the stage here was Bruce Springsteen, and he didn't get the welcome that Prime Minister Modi has got. Prime Minister Modi is the boss.
Well, the Prime Minister Modi is the boss. I sort of compared his statue with Led Zeppelin's because the crowd and the number of people in that particular auditorium reflected a straight-up rock concert. But he's invoked Bruce Springsteen, the Australian Prime Minister. But away from all these jokes and, away from the lighter note of all of it, the food, the music, the AI technology that's been spoken about, now in Brisbane, there is going to be a new Indian consulate that's going to be soon opened up in Brisbane. Earlier, Australian Prime Minister had said that there's going to be a new Australian consulate that's going to open up in Bengaluru. And now, a new Indian consulate that has been announced in Brisbane. So this bilateral tie is certainly headed in the right direction.
Well, it is headed in a right direction. It's also headed towards a much more deeper direction as well. This Brisbane consulate was, in fact, as Hindustan Times puts it, it was fulfilling a long-stand demand of the Indian diaspora, and that is what the government has in fact carried on with, opening up a consulate there. That announcement, in fact, will go down well with the diaspora as well. And it was also said that around 750,000 strong Indian Australian community is there in Australia. So interestingly enough, this government has been able to leverage the diaspora's strength in a lot of nations to its advantage, and at the same time we are first of all now looking at the diaspora as an extension of our foreign policies as well. So to keep the diaspora close at home has been the mantra that has been chanted, you know, for quite some, because most of the time there was a huge disconnect with the Indian diaspora in many places, in many areas. Probably we did not exploit the diaspora. When I say use the word exploit, it's not in the negative sense, but to in fact go ahead and also advance our soft power in many of those nations. We had neglected them for long, but this diaspora has achieved in their adopted countries. They have been in positions of power. They have in fact built businesses. They have brought investments as well. So this is the first time probably we are looking at how the diaspora is leveraged in a large way by
today itself. Today itself, Australia is about 4.5 hours ahead of the Indian Standard Time, and earlier in the day, in Australian time, the two leaders held a joint press conference, and in that particular press conference, Prime Minister Modi has said that the visit has strengthened India-Australia ties, but at the same time, he's pointed out at some problem and pain points as well. We know that some temples and some Sikh monuments were vandalized, denigrated. There were proper attacks that happened in Brisbane, in Sydney, in Melbourne as well. And Prime Minister Modi has come out and said that Anthony Albanese has reassured him that strict action is going to be taken. There is going to be no tolerance when it comes to vandalizing Indian temples, Hindu temples in Australia.
Well, Australia, I mean, there's a history with Australia. There have been racist attacks on Indians, Indian students. This is an extension of that's happening. But the lawmakers in Australia understand how important this relationship is, and it goes beyond the domestic issues that are there, and that is why even India is also trying to take it beyond the domestic issues. But of course, the Prime Minister does in fact go ahead and raise that concern when it comes to Australia. We did have incidents when Indian students were beaten up in the subway, in the trains, and some of them were in fact on the streets as well. There are people who've lost their eyesight because of certain racist gangs. But this attack on religious places has also become a trend in Australia. But of course, the local government has said that they will ensure that this does not happen. And the Prime Minister has in fact raised that issue, which is of a big concern for the diaspora. At the same time, the Australian press has also given good coverage to that visit. In the Australian, a paper in fact has said, swinging into entertainment, Modi as the boss takes center stage with style. Now that's on their front page with the picture with Anthony Albanese that we see over here. So they have got that. And
on the other hand, Prime Minister Modi, away from hardcore diplomacy, has also been able to, really tap into the actual sentiment on the ground. He has remembered Shane Warne to emphasize the Indian-Australian ties. I mean,
that's what I said. Look, the basic character of cricket is always there in Australian ties, and Shane Warne, of course.
Would you say cricket curry and the Commonwealth?
Cricket curry and Commonwealth, but now I'm saying now it's much beyond that. It is moved into dimensions where the actual potential of that relationship will be looked into. And one more, I'll just bring you one more headline that's there. It's come in the Financial Review in Australia, and again on the front page, this is what it says: Namaste Australia, Modi rocks Sydney. So wherever he goes, there is this rock star image that is there, and as you rightly pointed out, from West Bengal to Sydney. So the rock star image, and especially in that entire auditorium, you have a fantastic crowd also at the same time, and therefore it enhances that image a lot. And most of the foreign leaders are also in awe, because most of them probably wouldn't even be able to attract that kind of crowds from their own voters. And here you have a diaspora coming out in large numbers. So it in fact enhances the image of the Prime Minister in their eyes, and probably when it comes to diplomacy also, it's from a position of strength that we are speaking to another nation as well.
And even as we wrap up Prime Minister Modi's visit in Australia. He is also going to be soon back home. Anthony Albanese has spoken about a comprehensive economic policy. He says that they're going to conclude and try to conclude these talks on the key trade pact between India and Australia before the end of the year. It's called the Economic Cooperation Agreement. They're planning on, signing on it before the end of 2023. This to drive economic growth. Do you have some idea on what this key strategic
as of now,
partnership is
with
going to look
Australia,
like?
the entire partnership has been based on getting the raw material on energy. I've been saying about coal and uranium to a large extent. But those talks have been progressing quite well, and we are looking at Australia as an energy partner, not in terms of just selling of raw materials and we buying it and refining, and not on those bases alone. We are also looking at tech investment. We are looking at joint development of technology, especially in the energy sector, efficiency of using energy in that particular context as well. So this is something that is going much beyond all this. The commercial aspect of this relationship is becoming much, much stronger, and also the quad factor is also quite there in this relationship.
Well, absolutely. Just for the benefit of the viewers, just to put it out there, only last year the two countries signed an interim trade deal known as the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, the ECTA-ECTA. This year, they're going to try to close on this Economic Growth Pact before the end of 2023. It's going to foster Australian jobs and help industries prosper. This coming in from Anthony Albanese himself. Renewable energy is another focus of the bilateral partnership. So, Varghese, I mean, I think you've really hit it out of the park. Have all those points really right down there. And it goes on to show how the Prime Minister's and India's stature is rising in the Pacific South and this particular geopolitical region. Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and now Australia, that rock concert sort of a show. His meet with the diaspora, with the CEOs. It seems like it was a fruitful.
It was fruitful, and also we are extending our thoughts of our Indian Ocean neighborhood towards, away from Malacca Straits, towards Indonesia as well as Australia. So I think it is all part of that strategic thinking as well that has been embedded in this visit and its relationship, trying to build relationship with Australia.
All right, take a look at those images. The two best friends, it seems like. I mean, these are two childhood friends, and suddenly one of them went to Australia to study politics and is now the Prime Minister of Australia. And Narendra Modi, the other friend who couldn't make it out but became the Prime Minister of his own country.
Well, interesting visuals coming in from there. Of course, bilateral ties being in focus, and Anthony Albanese looking at getting that relationship much deeper. And it's been the style of the Prime Minister also to have a one-on-one relationship with most of the foreign leaders, and he has in fact made a point to be very detailed when it comes to the details of that relationship as well.
He just like, it showcases such high level of confidence. You've got the United States President coming in, and he'll give Joe Biden a nice tap on the shoulder, really shake him up early in the morning. Say, good morning to you, sir. Fumio Kishida in Japan steps a little back, lets Prime Minister Modi take the lead, and he starts leading all those ministers when they're heading to that photograph. And over here as well, with every laughter, you don't see other politicians and other, statesmen really laughing it out there.
When you said that, most of the politicians that you see is that there is this picture-perfect handshake that happens. There is, I mean, you don't see these moments like, the one-on-one talks.
It's a little more personal.
It is a little more, there is a personal attached to it. And I mean, whether it's in India, mostly that picture at Hyderabad House with India's flag and the visiting country's flag and one shake hand. That is the visual that you get, and that's it, end of the story. Then you have a press conference. That is diplomacy for you. And the rest is this.
But the rock star in the shape of Narendra Modi
this
has
kind of
sort
a personal,
changed that.
this kind of a personal touch is totally different. I mean, what you said is correct. I mean, it looks like they have been
friends
known
for a long time. Kumbh ke mele mein bichde hamare do pradhan mantri of these two states. Anyway, another important story, even as we're taking a look at politics at the global level, let's also take a look at politics that's taking shape back here at home. 28th of May is when the Prime Minister is going to be inaugurating the new Parliament building. Now, Karnataka's victory, Aam Aadmi Party and that tussle with the Lieutenant Governor here in Delhi vis-a-vis that ordinance row, transferring of officers. There was an officer that was suspended. This new ordinance came about and that officer was reinstated. So there's a little sour taste here as well. On the other hand, Arvind Kejriwal, he's going door to door asking for support to back him against this ordinance. So is Nitish Kumar. He's met Mamata Banerjee, slated to meet some NCP leaders. What's really happening on that front, Varghese?
Well, since you in fact raised that issue, I was interesting. I think it was in the Indian Express. They have in fact said that who supports and who doesn't support this factor that AAP is in fact trying to in fact get.
Who doesn't support? Who doesn't support?
So as of now, what we understand is that the Congress has taken a very ambiguous stance in this. What the Congress seems to be saying is that they will decide whether to go ahead with AAP when it comes to the ordinance, but said that there won't be any truck when it comes to any political lines in Punjab as such and Delhi when it comes to the election. So it looks like Congress is in a very ambiguous position when it comes to AAP, because they have a history when it comes to it, and AAP has also said that it will go ahead and contest in every poll as possible. So I think right now we must be in fact looking at what the centre's ordinance row is going to be, and meanwhile Congress's leaders within have according to the Indian Express that I am reading, they say that centre's ordinance row, Congress leaders oppose support to AAP. So internally there is a thought process saying that there shouldn't be any support on this ordinance front. Meanwhile, he's supposed to meet Uddhav as well as Pawar today. He has already met with Mamata, and Mamata has in fact supported him on that ordinance. But here, interestingly enough, this is what is being
What does this picture tell you? What does this picture tell you? You've got Arvind Kejriwal sitting right next to Mamata Banerjee. There's a Punjab Chief Minister also there. I mean, of course, more Aam Aadmi Party leaders, because they took the delegation to meet Mamata Banerjee, which again is a prestige issue for her, because she says, if the Congress really wants to come speak to me, they must come to me. I'm not going anywhere. And which is why Arvind Kejriwal said, okay, I oblige, I'm going to come meet you. And he went to Calcutta. You've got Raghav Chadha over there. Aam Aadmi Party and the TMC, both parties that have come out openly and said that we're going to boycott that parliament event. What does this picture tell you? Where is this heading?
Well, it talks about interests of TMC and AAP coming together. And TMC is the first party to an extent who did face that kind of a central push into its administration. We have seen how the governors have been at loggerheads with Mamata Banerjee. And Mamata has always been saying that the centre has been trying to intervene and West Bengal has been getting a raw deal. And she has been trying to project that also on the centre. So here what we are seeing is that probably the factor that their interests are aligning, the kind of persecution complex that the both of them have been putting as a narrative is aligning. So it looks perfectly enough for AAP to seek TMC's support. But when it comes to the parliament building, I mean, the Tribune, in fact, the Tribune has gone ahead and made it their top story as well. It's the first front page story for them. And the Tribune says that opposition said to keep away from new parliament launch. TMC, CPI, AAP announce boycott. So there also you see the kind of interest that is converging when it comes to Arvind Kejriwal as well as Mamata. And again, some of them are yet to take a decision, but this is what they are saying, that Congress, CPM, DMK, IUML, GMM likely to skip the event. Now, the Congress had raised this issue first. They had said, cited Articles 60 and 111 to say that the President is the head of the Parliament, must open the new Parliament complex. And party MP Shashi Tharoor, in fact, also went on social media and tried to raise that issue. So, Tribune has in fact raised that particular aspect as such on
This is what the Times of India is saying.
Yeah, what is the Times
saying? It says no truck
that.
with the Aam Aadmi Party. This being quoted to the Congress in Delhi and Punjab.
This is on the ordinance front.
Undecided on services ordinance, however.
Now, that's why I was saying Congress, that ambiguity is there. So, I think they also highlighted that ambiguity factor when it comes to the ordinance row. And of course, these two issues are in fact going to, Hindustan Times has also put out several opposition parties to skip new parliament inauguration. And they are also saying that the issue that they have raised is that it's not according to the rules. They have in fact quoted Parliament's is not just a new building, it is an establishment with old tradition, values, precedents and rules. It is the foundation of Indian democracy. PM Modi doesn't get that. For him, Sunday's inauguration of the new building is all about I, me, myself, so count us out. This is what the tweet has come from Trinamool Congress Rajya Sabha leader Derek O'Brien.
Yeah.
So that's the tweet that he's put out.
And this is what Pratap Singh Bajwa says, Punjab leader of opposition and other senior Congress leaders from Delhi, Ajay Makan and Sandeep Dikshit, they held a meeting, and this is what Pratap Singh Bajwa says. He says, if Sheila Dikshit as Chief Minister was not given special powers, how can they be given to Kejriwal? This Dikshit was much more powerful because she was the Chief Minister during the UPA government. Now you've got the BJP government here in the center, and if Dikshit didn't have powers, how can you expect Arvind Kejriwal to get powers here?
Well, over here...
But you know what, I'm just going to hold you here. First and foremost, for all the viewers out there, a very dear colleague of mine, Pankaj Mishra, also joins us on the broadcast here. Pankaj, in your CV, senior TV journalist experience and career, how does the day plan today fare? Where does this story, come? Listen into what Arvind Kejriwal said, Pankaj, and help us understand where this TMC Aam Aadmi Party, indirect alliance is headed.
इन लोगों ने नोटिफिकेशन, केंद्र सरकार ने नोटिफिकेशन पास करके, एक नोटिफिकेशन, सिंपल नोटिफिकेशन पास करके दिल्ली की चुनी हुई सरकार की सारी पावर्स छीन ली कि हम किसी ऑफिसर की ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग नहीं कर सकते, अगर कोई ऑफिसर गलत काम करे तो हम उसकी डिसिप्लिनरी प्रोसीडिंग नहीं कर सकते, ये सारी पावर हमसे छीन ली। 8 साल तक दिल्ली के लोगों ने संघर्ष किया, हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट गए। 8 साल के संघर्ष के बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने हमारे पक्ष में ऑर्डर किया, दिल्ली की जनता जीत गई। लेकिन जैसे ही ऑर्डर आया सुप्रीम कोर्ट का, 1 हफ्ते के बाद इन्होंने ऑर्डिनेंस लाके जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर था उसको उन्होंने पलट दिया, और उस दिन पलटा जिस दिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट वेकेशन पे जा रहा था। इसका मतलब इनके दिल में काला था, इन्हें पता था कि अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट होता तो अगले दिन उसके ऊपर स्टे लग जाता, तो इनका ऑर्डिनेंस गलत है। इन लोगों ने जिस तरह से डेमोक्रेसी का मजाक बना दिया है, यहाँ भी 3 तरीके से ये चुनी हुई सरकारों को तंग कर रहे हैं। एक, पहली चीज कि जहाँ पे बीजेपी की सरकार नहीं बनती वहाँ ये एमएलए खरीद के सरकार गिरा देते हैं उस पार्टी की और अपनी बीजेपी की सरकार बना लेते हैं। दूसरा, जहाँ बीजेपी की सरकार नहीं बनती वहाँ ये ईडी और सीबीआई को इस्तेमाल करके दूसरी पार्टी के एमएलएज को डराते हैं, धमकाते हैं, उनको तोड़ लेते हैं और उनकी सरकार गिरा के बीजेपी की सरकार बना लेते हैं। तीसरा, जहां बीजेपी की सरकार नहीं बनती वहां कानून का गलत इस्तेमाल करके गवर्नर के जरिए ऑर्डिनेंस पास करके ये तरह तरह से उस नॉन बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट को काम ही नहीं करने देते। हमने वेस्ट बंगाल में भी देखा गवर्नर कैसे तंग कर रहे हैं, हमने वहां भी देखा, पंजाब में भी देख रहे हैं, पूरे तमिलनाडु में देख रहे हैं, तेलंगाना में देख रहे हैं किस तरह से गवर्नर तंग कर रहे हैं। और अब दिल्ली के अंदर इन्होंने जो किया वो तो बिल्कुल ही जनतंत्र के खिलाफ है। देश की जनता को ये देख के अब इस अहंकारी सरकार को हटाना चाहिए। तो एक तो मैं दीदी का शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूँ कि राज्यसभा के अंदर इन्होंने कहा कि हम सपोर्ट करेंगे।
Pankaj, quickly over to you. He's talking about Telangana, he's talking about the West Bengal governor. He's categorically naming these non-BJP states, actually knocking on the door for their support.
Yes, absolutely, Kabir. And there is not much option that is left with Arvind Kejriwal as well, because this morning newspaper also talks about the tug of war between Saurabh Bharadwaj, who is the service minister in Delhi government, and the IAS officer whose office was sealed in Delhi after the Supreme Court order, but now he has been asked to de-seal the office, and because of this stay on the ordinance now, obviously the tug of war has gotten even more stronger, even more louder. The question is, for how long could Arvind Kejriwal ward off this spanner in the work situation from the center. Well, it looks like this is going to stay as of now. This is not just one key area. There are other issues also which we have often seen Arvind Kejriwal and LG sparring over. But these other political developments, as we may call it, meeting of Arvind Kejriwal with West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, obviously two very known forces, two very known voices against Prime Minister Modi. The DD versus Modi is something that we have seen in the past as well, and now Arvind Kejriwal, fresh from the sting from the center, obviously finding solace and friendship in Mamata Banerjee there. So here also the pertinent question is whether this duo could cobble up a support, galvanize the opposition with different differing views also, starting with the Congress. Then we have, if we move down south, K. Chandrasekhar Rao's BRS. Then we have the Y.S. Rajashekar Reddy in Andhra Pradesh, all those things down south in Tamil Nadu as well. So, this cobbling up of support is important. We will see more of this in the run-up to 2024. A good beginning, I would say, but nonetheless, both the parties on your screen have their good reasons to join hands.
I think, Varghese, it's going to finally boil down to where the Congress is going to stand when it decides on this ambiguous stand of its own doing.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult because right now, as I said, that ambiguity, they're keeping it open. As I was telling you, the state units, even the Hindu has said that the state units are wary of backing up, because AAP has been a rival, has in fact, if you know, like Sheila Dikshit time, they are the ones who pulled down a successful Congress ministry, and they were able to sit in because of the corruption that had resulted during that time. And Congress had to, in fact, have, bite in the dust. And Ajay Maken is the one who's, in fact, made that thing also known, because Ajay Maken was the one who was cutting a sorry figure at that time when AAP had won Delhi on a huge margin. Nobody was there. He was the only one who gave that statement and left. So it's going to be very difficult to convince the units that have been fighting on the ground about supporting AAP. So that's why probably, there is some kind of ambiguity on this.
We're shifting our focus here real quick. In the front page in the Times of India, it says a minister who's a Siddaramaiah loyalist has come out and said that Siddaramaiah in Karnataka, who just has been sworn in as the chief minister of the state, is going to continue for the full term. There is no 2.5 years seat sharing between Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivkumar. This particular minister is M.B. Patil. And M.B. Patil, we're going to quickly listen into what M.B. Patil said. But in the meantime, D.K. Shivkumar has come out and said that, look, I'm not going to come out and speak on this. This is for the Congress High Command to decide. Let's quickly listen into first what M.B. Patil had to say.
ನಾನು ಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯಗಳ ಯುಕ್ತ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ
There's some technical difficulty with that particular bite, but
I think I'll just say that he had, in fact, as you rightly pointed out, had said that there was no, power sharing agreement, and Siddaramaiah will be for 5 years. But Hindu has, in fact, put a very interesting two quotes in this. One is, what it says is this, that D.K. Shivkumar at that party said that let anyone speak anything they want. AIC General Secretary is there, the Chief Minister is there, and the AIC's President is there to look into these things. He said, indicating that the power sharing pact is known to the party high command. Another, at the end of that article, it's written, Mr. Surjewala has reportedly told Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. Shivkumar to direct their loyalists to refrain from making statements in public on chief ministership and power sharing pact. So that is something which makes it very much clear when it comes to Karnataka, especially on the issue that you have raised. But also two more things that I would like to focus on as well when it comes to Karnataka. One is that in that same meeting, there was an interesting take that was given. No more moral policing, CM and Deputy CM to the police brass. and this is what it's being said, that there will be no more moral policing anymore. We will put an end to this. Siddaramaiah said after meeting the police must not look at crimes through the prism of his religion or that religion. All people must be viewed equally and must be given equal protection. So clear warning by Siddaramaiah as well as DK Shivkumar on this. And a little unrelated to this, Pankaj, in fact, there is another thing that is happening in Karnataka, and this is in the Hindustan Times. It says that centre clears Karnataka's proposal to serve eggs in midday meals. Now,
all right.
that is
similar,
I mean, a
similar
lot of changes
has erupted before as well.
Yeah.
I remember Pankaj doing that story back in the day as well. Pankaj, the eggs and the midday meal have again surfaced in Karnataka.
But this time they've got this thing. Centre has cleared that proposal immediately instead of creating that controversy.
Pankaj, what's your opinion on it?
Well, Kabir, we have seen state after state, the midday meal issue and the changes that a new government would bring as far as, the state is concerned. They do it off and on, and obviously they have both political reason also, and they also want to rub it in the previous government as well. Because this again is part of posturing. This also speaks volumes about look who is in charge here, and also they claim to be siding with one group of people, one faction of that debate who actually promulgated, who wanted some changes to be made, or who were miffed at the changes that were made by the previous government. Now, for Congress government, obviously tweaking the midday meal program, for that matter, we would be very soon seeing some changes in the local municipality. Also, possibly, we have been discussing what is transpiring in Bengaluru, the rain havoc, and the chief minister, the newly elected chief minister Siddaramaiah, he announced compensation also for the two casualties that we saw in the last couple of days. All these things basically boiling down to the fact that for Siddaramaiah, obviously, the situation as of now is a bit volatile. He has just assumed the office of chief minister, and this is a cooling off time. Many would say as honeymoon period, because anything and everything that goes wrong could be easily be blamed on the previous government. And obviously, Siddaramaiah asking people to refrain from moral policing is something that is coming across as a placating balm as far as the mixed emotions are concerned. And for in the days to come, obviously, we are going to see some developments which obviously would, in a way, set the tone for the Congress and its new government here in Karnataka.
Well, absolutely. But I mean, it is important to point out that within a week's time, this DK Shivkumar versus Siddaramaiah tussle that people before the elections were saying is a crack, might, blow into a full-blown drift and rift. It hasn't happened so far, and we'll have to wait and see as to what really happens on that front. But in the top, the top headlines of the Times of India, it says women bag top 4 ranks in civil services. 3 are from the Delhi University. Women again outshining men when it comes to UPSC exam results. We've got the top 3 ranked people, their reactions. Let's take a look at those reactions real quick.
I think I'm on cloud 9 today. It feels very good, and I have a lot of gratitude for everyone who has supported me. I think the journey was very long. It required a lot of patience, lot of perseverance, and बहुत setbacks आते हैं. But constantly आप आगे बढ़ते रहिए and keep working hard towards your goals. And I think you need to have that belief in yourself.
जी सर, तो बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें जो हमेशा से मैंने सोची है जिसके टुवर्ड्स मैं काम करूं, पर शिक्षा और महिला सशक्तिकरण ये 2 चीज़ें हैं जिसके टुवर्ड्स मैं ज़रूर काम करना चाहूँगी. बहुत सारे रिसोर्सेज को नहीं रेफर करना, बेसिक रिसोर्सेज को पढ़ना है और उसको बार बार पढ़ना है, कंसिस्टेंसी और डिसिप्लिन के साथ पढ़ना है और टेस्ट देते रहना है, और कभी भी निराश होने पर रो लेना चाहिए 2 घंटा 3 घंटा, पर वापस बैठकर ज़रूर पढ़ाई स्टार्ट कर देनी चाहिए.
Hi, my name is Uma Harati. I am very relieved to have secured rank 3 so that I don't have to prepare for prelims again. So this is my 5th attempt and my second interview. So it's been a long process for me, and it was not difficult. It was not easy. It was quite challenging.
Well, so the heartiest of congratulations to Ishita Kishore, Garima Loya and Uma Harati. We can only hope that they take the country right where to its deserved place, these new budding and shining IS officers of our country. But, you know, before we wrap this newspaper segment up, there's one important piece of information that we must talk about as well. The Manipur violence. There has been a crucial arrest over there, hasn't there been, Varghese?
It is a crucial arrest where ex-deputy speaker has been arrested with 3 others, and one of them, of course, is him. And it has been
ex-deputy speaker of the Manipur Assembly has been arrested.
Yes, and it is also with. I mean, right now they are not saying who it is, but of course the designation tells who it is, the situation was with regard to the violence that happened recently, and therefore the arrests are based on those who triggered that violence, and this has become as quite an alarming situation for the security forces, because they have realized that there are lawmakers who are technically giving some kind of impetus to this violence, because they've been trying to get control on the guns, they're trying to have flag marches, they're having to ensure that communities remain safe, displaced communities are given safe passages to where they feel that they are safe. So all this is happening, and then all of a sudden you have a lawmaker coming into the picture. So that has got a lot of people worried, Kabir.
Right, and Pankaj, very quickly bringing you in on this as well. We've got 2 people in our live stream comment section speaking about this as well, saying Modi and Amit Shah don't really care about Manipur violence. They only care about the new parliament where they will sit comfortably. There's Kazim who's gone on to say, let's remove Prime Minister Modi from his comfort chair. But what's your opinion on this latest arrest in the Manipur violence saga?
Yes, Kabir, developments are happening thick and fast in the northeastern part of the country, and now, after an ex-MLA, there are more arrests and detention being done in the now almost a month-long unrest in Manipur. This is also coming in and emanating from the fact that a lot of arms and ammunition too have been recovered, and that way the crackdown by the local police with the tacit support from the army is bearing fruits. And the situation, what appeared to be initially calming down, soothing down with people finding refuge in refugee camps, and army also helping them to rehabilitate at several centers. Now, once again, Imphal, the capital city, is feeling the burden again, and violence and arson-related activities in the last 48 to 72 hours, what we have seen with the houses being torched, some of them empty also. Those houses were also being torched in Imphal, and that is something which is giving sleepless nights to the administration here. Tricky situation, definitely, but as the state government is mentioning that N. Biren Singh has, in ways more than just one, has admitted to the fact that there was intelligence failure, could have been handled better. But he also says in the same breath that we should move on. What is past is past now, and now we should ensure peace in the region. Meanwhile, the center also has said that Home Ministry is keeping a close eye on the situation. It's monitoring the situation, but obviously this has not gone down very well with both the local residents and to the general public on the whole, because this inauguration of the new parliament building, plus the recently concluded Karnataka elections, actually received flack from both the netizens and the residents of the state that the center should be focusing more on the situation at hand right now, rather than indulging into electoral activities. Kabir.
Well, absolutely. For all the viewers out there, you can join us at 11 a.m. again today for a detailed and a nuanced discussion on the Manipur unrest and where is Manipur headed. Essentially, we've decoded various other factors, what's at play over there. Only yesterday, more calls for boots to be deployed on the ground were made. Like Pankaj pointed out, the Chief Minister of the state has owned up that there was intelligence failure, and this is what we're learning today, that an ex-MLA, the Deputy Speaker of the Manipur Assembly, ex-BJP MLA, along with 2 other people with arms, have been arrested. What does this mean for the Bharatiya Janata Party that now is saying that Northeast is their own bastion? Well, we'll have to really find out. That's the bigger question over here. In the meantime, we're running out of time. Varghese, many thanks for joining with us. Pankaj, we're going to see you in the building real soon. Many thanks for joining us here on this morning newspaper chat. And to all the viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us in the comment sections. Thank you so much for being a part of this editorial meet, because it's important that we take discussions away from everyday newsroom studio and really talk it out like actual people in the age of social media. Kudos to you for that. We're going to slip into a quick break over here. Lots more coming right on the other side. Take a look at some business developments that are coming up right next. Many thanks. This is Kabir Nakvi signing off. Keep it with News9 Live.